Hey guys, we're here with a special guest today, Mohammed, who finished top 8 at the remote regional with White Forest. So maybe I'll just pass it over to you then in terms of, how you feel about the deck with this new format.
I really like how this deck has like two sides to it, right? It's not just another combo deck. You kind of play with your combos, and also you can like control your opponent's field and stuff. I also really like the dual win conditions, where you sometimes you just actually have to take out your opponent with your own spells. But this is like the best grindy deck in the format, maybe probably because of the White Forest's ability to like shuffle back all the synchro monsters. And I really like the kind of the depth and the lines you have with this deck because they're really non-intuitive.
Awesome. Well, let's get right to the list then.
So it's 3 LZ. Um, kind of some people play 2. I think 3 is like the best ratio. You just kind of always want to see this card. You can usually bait out an Ash or something with one of your runic spells, summon like Hugin. And then if they Ash the Hugin, this is just free. You can summon it and then add one of your LZs. Basically, not LZs, her name, Sylvie. Uh, LZ is here to find Sylvie. Sylvie is basically the best card in the deck. You normal summon her. You get a card that counts for 2 cards. Because you should discard that card with Hugin, or you draw with Rushia. I only play 2 Rushia. Some people play 3, I think. I never really missed the third one. Over my time in the regional, or like over the rounds, I've seen this card a surprising amount of time alone. She's an alright starter. You obviously would rather see this, and it would win you more games if you saw this. But I think 2 makes sense for the grind game, and you do actually kind of want to see this card. Like if these guys aren't an option, you do actually want to see this in your opening hand as a starter. Um, it's a free draw, and then you synchro 6 into one of the synchros. Where is she? This one. Now for the runic spells, just the obvious ratios. You play 3 runic freezing curses, 3 flashing fire, 3 destruction, 3 tip, and 3 slumber. Um, Mostly everybody agrees with it, playing as many of the useful runic spells as possible. So you play 3 of every one of these. What people disagree on is the ratios for the extra ones. So I do play Dispelling and Smithing Stone, but I also play Golden Droplet. I think hands full of runic spells are pretty decent, and they get your combos going. So usually when you have a hand that's like, I don't know, like this. This is very resilient to Ash Blossom or something, because you can summon, you can search the field spell either way, and then you can start drawing cards. If you start drawing cards, you can see your White Forest monsters, and they just keep get going. And even if you don't, you can play Runic Control for a bit until you kind of have what you need. So I really like playing 18 Runic spells. I don't think it's mandatory or anything, but I do just enjoy playing the Runic spells I played. 2 Fountain, because you can only play 2. You would play 3, but you can. For the extra spells, the Upstart Goblin. I really like this card. You draw and then you add it back later. Kind of has this extra consistency because the deck, if you look at the deck, the ratios are a bit kind of wonky because you do need to see the White Forest monsters. But this deck draws so many that you don't actually have to play more than the 8 you have here, and this helps with that kind of idea. And it's so often during like the regional my games, your hand has like runic spells and upstart goblins and chicken game. Chicken game has the bonus of just being on the field and can be used as an extra resource for your runic monsters. The nuts hands usually have a chicken game in them. You play chicken game, you draw, you remove chicken game, summon else, and then pop off. One triple tactics talent. The idea behind playing only one is your deck draws so many cards that, let's say they interrupt you during the main phase, but you still get going. You can still keep going. you can very realistically maybe draw this card anyway, and then just that's an extra draw 2, or you just have or you just have to open it, which does happen a fair amount of the time. You could replace this with terraforming. It's probably not a bad idea either way. This is, I guess, controversial, but it's Tales of the White Forest. Nobody usually, I mean, some people do, but the idea behind playing this card is okay. This is it either saves your saves you by if you open only this card and then you summon it, you can add this and search as that, right? So that could happen. The most common use case of this card is it's just an extra resource. So you send it to grave, it comes back, and you send it again. Some people play stuff like Metal Force Fusion and stuff. This is basically the Metal Force Fusion of my deck because it's just an extra resource. That an extra card you get by discarding a card that's searchable and has some utility. I wish there was a Runick Master that was Spellcaster Illusion, but what can you do? Two woes. Never really wanted to play three. I think you can't play one. One is I did try one for a bit. Horrible idea. You need the three Runick not Runick White Forest spells at least. And then two of the best one or the better one. You should. That's probably a good idea. Three evenly matched. Going second if you see this and like I don't know, freezing cursors or flashing fire. You usually can break any board. It's pretty decent card. Highly recommended. One skill drain after the ban list. Before the ban list, the deck was like, draw skill drain, draw turbo, right? It's like the best deck under skill drain. But after the ban list, skill drain is what won. It's still really good, so you still play it, but the kind of the identity of the deck is different now. Some people did try playing like there can be only one and stuff like that, or different floodgates. I think this is the only one you need, I guess, because if you draw it, you win, and so it's nice to have like a card like that in your deck. So that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, SP Little Knight. This card is phenomenal. You have to play this card. This deck very easily summons extra deck monsters and usually has a normal effect monster, and then the levels all match, or there's like a tuner and a tuner, or some insane mix up. So you need a really good link monster that does something, and this does everything. So this card's great. Basically, have that in the deck, summoning this card. It's really good. Or knowing how to play with this card is how you win in this deck. I want to say. So this card's really nice. Baguska, sometimes you get disrupted, or it's like a late game and you just need to stall the game for a few turns as you met out your opponent. So you have Baguska to summon, stall out a few turns, or if they disrupt you, like I guess I'll show this now. But if they disrupt, if you have this on field and they try to nip you, you can chain summon like this, or while having this in your graveyard. And then when they chip you off your masters, you'd have like two synchro masters in your game, so you can special summon 2 level 4s and go for Baguska. So, and that comes up a surprising amount of time, and that's how you play around Nib. So yeah, this card is kind of mandatory, I think. Typhon, I don't think I summoned him. I don't quite remember. This card is, when it comes up, it comes up. It's really important. But you can probably go without playing it if you find some of the other ratios. You don't like some of the other ratios. It's really important when you have triple tactic status in your deck. Sometimes you do just want to use tactics to be a disruption or board disruption. So you take the highest attack monster, overlay over the highest attack monster, detach, remove another monster, right? Because you don't have your battle phase either. So this card isn't as good as in other decks because it doesn't. It is in three. It doesn't remove 2 cards on its own. If you play triple tactics, stealing a card and putting this over it and moving and sending a few runic spells, usually wins you the game. So I don't know. I really like this card either way. I think it's one of my favorites. Zabershimp, very good. Discards anything. So you often discard like an extra LZ or something. It's nice to have value with the kind of, because you draw so many cards. It's nice to have value, like a way to discard those cards. And when it comes up, it really comes up. It's really important, and it's also synchro summons your changing, which is important. The Runick, the not Runick, White Forest Masters. These two are important. This one is a Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse. It's very good. This one is part of your combos usually. I always prefer going to this card even if I don't really need the search because of the extra material in the graveyard. Really nice redundancy. I really like this card. This card's ridiculous. Very good. It wins the game on its own. It can win you games on its own. Yeah. Try it. You don't really need this card. It's mostly heals because sometimes your best play is to have changing on field. So it's nice to get a draw while you're at it. But it's not really mandatory. You probably wouldn't miss it that much. Coral Dragon, it's nice when you really need to draw a card. So you summon this instead of what's the name? Ishiria. So and then also the discard effect where you discard and just pop anything on the field is really good for going second or not even just going second, but like in the late game. Which this deck has happens to make games go for a long time. So it's a really important card. FA Danger Exer, very good end board piece. Just having that extra spell trap negate can really save you. It can like stop talents or unevenly or stuff like that. It's a really nice card. And it's really easy to summon in this deck because you can just summon unit. And then a level 4 tuner, the main. Yeah, Diabel is your main monster. Very good. You can add back the draw, you can add back runic fountain, you can add back runic spells, all sorts of amazing utility. So this card's Cheng MVP, very good card. Just one resolution of this effect and you kind of win. I don't think you need more than one because if it by the time you've used it or it dies, so usually you'd have like this on field and this on field, and you would go runic spell and you would chain Zappershimp to summon Chenging. So now you can chain block Fountain with Chenging and try and resolve Chenging at the same time. And if that goes through, you've got so much value that you win. So even if they remove the Chenging, you're gonna win with your alternate win condition, which is runic spells, or just attacking. Or if it sticks, you kind of this can kill them by itself. So it's pretty good. So yeah, it's kind of MVP. No Chaos Angel because there's no room. But yeah. Runic monsters, Munin for Don Jackster and nothing else basically. Gary for redundancy and summoning Baguska or resummoning Diabel. Sometimes when you get disrupted with Nib, you can summon this and also resolve your fountain for the second time in a turn. And summon Diabel. So this card's nice. Good level to level 4. Hugin, I wish I could play 3. I'm only playing 2. Maybe I should play 3. Good, really good card. Perfect level, perfect ability. It's not once per turn, so you can. It's not once per turn, so you can summon it, and then if they disrupt the first one, combo off with that one, and then summon another one. Try and get runic content. So it's very good card. I like as well. The engine, the levels just happen to really mix well together with the runic engine, so that's pretty decent. For the side deck, I guess. We'll take this as he's kind of a bit rushed, but Performance Pal 5 Rainbow Magician. Card is fantastic. Highly recommended. If you're gonna go first, having this up really disrupts your opponent's plays. Sometimes they set a card and you can just change destruction on that card, and then they don't know what to do anymore. So that forces removes disruptions from their hand too. And then this forces the game to go like late game, like I guess what's the name? Tenpai. They can go battle phase, and then you destroy the set card, and then this card stops them from attacking, which is pretty funny. This card's good. For Yubel, So going first against you will like usually side these three instead of side these three for evenly matched. They're good disruption. The levels are nice. You can summon Changing with them. That's basically it. Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood never came up for me. It might come up for you. Play this. The Ash Blossom, some matchups you kind of want the Ashes. I usually side them in against Tenpai and what's the name? Branded. So against matchups where this card is pretty decent, or you don't really have better alternatives, this card is pretty. You should probably play this card instead of evenly. So you want to draw cards of this deck. So I usually play Dragon Tasme. It never really came up for me. When it did come up, you kind of just summon it in defense position. You reshuffle your hand. It's pretty. It's just really nice value. A nice card when you kind of want to draw with this deck. So I got 3 nibs instead of Perulia. I had Perulias, but I gave it to somebody. So I didn't have them for the regional. I noticed too late. So I put these in. The idea behind nib is some matchups you want to bring in. You don't want to bring in Ash, nor would you want to bring in these guys going first. So going first, you'd bring in this card and like nibs for going first, because even if they break through your board, they've probably done like a bunch of summons, so you can just hit them with the nib, and then your deck has such a good grind game that you're just gonna end up winning. So that's why you play Wing. Nib. I never really missed Perulia, to be honest. Very often I don't draw Perulia, and then when I combo off or something, I draw into Perulia and I lose the game. So yeah, I don't know. Perulia's alright.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the in-depth profile and explanations. Congrats again. Any shoutouts before we end the call?
Shout outs to Team Gamisib. Shout outs to Nasser for giving me these. It's basically it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.